Hey guys, Art 131 here, and we're entering week 3. As you can see, that's assignment number 5, and that's drawing hand in plastic wrap. It says acrylic wrap. Okay. I'm going to have to change the way that's worded, but basically it's in plastic wrap, which is like saran wrap or stretch wrap. I'm going to show you an example of that, and then later in the week we'll talk about number 6, crumpled paper, and the drawing from life and drawing with your eyes closed. We'll talk about that later. Right now I'm going to show you some examples of other students when they drew the plastic over their hand. So basically you're drawing your hand first with all the shading, all the dark and light areas. When I say attention to the light source, single light source, here's the single light source coming from the right side, and everything on the left side of the hand, fingers, palm, everything, even the arm, are shaded in the shadow area, but there's a gradual transition from the lighter to the darker tones. Excuse me. And so you need to put all that together first and then outline where the plastic may be around the hand. It's not going to be a line per se, but it's going to be more shading tones over the hand. This one's kind of relying on the reflection marks primarily, which you'll see when you put the plastic wrap over your hand and kind of stretch it on there, and you'll see the difference. These are just ideas that different students were able to come up with on shading the hand. And they're all a little different. Everybody's going to draw this a little differently. But you can see that something's over the hand, and it's transparent, but there's reflection marks on the plastic from the light source. But the hand and the fingers are all shaded according to that light source, which, different directions, but decide what that direction is by looking at your hand. I mean, set up your hand by the window without any other lighting, or a lamp that's one side or the other, not directly on it, because when you have light directly on something, your subject, it's not going to show shadow side and light side. It's very difficult to get that to look like a 3D appearance on a paper, because you don't have the dark and light tones to tell us it's round, and all the other shapes that come from that. It's just going to look flat. This is one of the better ones, in my opinion. And if you notice, it's just a matter of shading that they added into the plastic. I mean, the transparent plastic has a shade to it. It's not completely transparent. It has substance, so it has a tone. And then all these reflection marks are in there. And you get that done by erasing it out. All the drawings I showed you, same thing. You're erasing out tone with a thin eraser head, or a very sharp edge of the eraser. That's what all these light marks are. And you'll see that. You put it over your hand in a position, either, hand up, or palm down, or whatever position you want your hand into. Draw the hand and all the shading in here. That's all it is. It's shading. Light and dark areas, and little places where there may be a line or two where the knuckles are and where the lines in the hands are. But typically, most of this is just shading tones. You can be really smooth about it, or you can be kind of scratchy and stuff. This is really well done, this one. Okay, but you can see where it's around the hand. This one's not really stretched on the hand all that much. You might have to tape it at the back to get it to stretch sort of over your hand, so you get these stretch marks and stuff. That's going to help you draw this and show that it's over the fingers, over the hand. And all these stretch marks go over several fingers or over the whole palm or down here, and they go in different directions. They're not just on one finger, one finger, one finger, because that's going to look like, oh, that's just on one finger. Well, it's not. Right? The whole plastic wrap is over the hand. That's what you want to show. That's what you want to show your audience, that the plastic wrap is over the hand. And here's a different one. It's kind of faint, but I would say there's plastic wrap over that hand, right? The hand is shaded. The light source seems to be coming from the top left slightly, because there's darker sides to the fingers and the thumb, that there's a shadow area in here. Look at what you set up with your single light source and notice all the light and dark areas, and then put that in, okay? You just put them where they belong and the right proportions of the fingers. You're going to have to sort of measure this finger from that finger. How long is this finger compared to that one, compared to that one, compared to that one? Really notice what you're looking at. And you can look at it and you can notice that. Well, this is just a little bit shorter, or this is quite a bit shorter. It's like 4 times as short as this one. As far as, you know, one fingernail length right here might be 1, 2, 2.5 or something fingernail lengths going down. And that's sort of how you have to think to get the proportions correct. And this is really a strange one, but it kind of looks like goo or some sort of slime, but it does look like something's over the hand, so it's successful in that right. I really like this one, actually. But these are different ways that students did it. This is good in its own right as well. It's kind of more minimal, but you can, I think maybe it would have been more successful with some more lines. See the lines they actually put? It's a shading line with some of these reflection marks, and maybe down here could have used a couple more. But it's still a hand with something over it that's transparent, that looks like plastic wrap. That's what you really want to know. You can pause on any one of these and look at it longer. I'm just showing them really quickly. And I think this one's successful too, even though it might be telling the story more verbatim here, because you know, that's definitely a plastic material, see-through, stretched over, but they're relying on the reflection mark being erased out and a little line on the bottom. But it's a shading line. It's a broad line. It's not a writing line. It's a shading line that they put on the bottom edge of all the reflection marks. And that really looks good that way. But you have to draw the hand, I believe, first. Maybe you can get this all together at the same time. And then, but I think, you know, at least make it a light drawing so you can erase out places. And then you may have to add tone into other places so the hand doesn't get lost. You want the hand to be seen, but it may be distorted, and the image distorted slightly by the plastic wrap over it. Even though it's transparent, it's going to reflect light. It's going to reflect bright light on it, and it's also going to reflect other dark tones within the room on that. So there were your examples, okay? But you really have to focus in on shading the hand, or it's going to look flat. You really want all the dark and lights in the hand, so it gives it shape. If the hand has no shape, it's going to look flat, and that comes from no shading. So watch the shading video again if you need to, the one I posted in week 1 for assignment 2. And, you know, they outline why we shade and where the light source is coming from and all that. Well, they use a ball, but that can be used for any subject as well. Because these have, you know, fingers are round-ish, right? They're not square. So they have rounded edges, just like the ball. And so they react to light similarly, okay? So any questions, let me know. you can just get started on this one, and I'll talk about number 6 and the homework later. Please get your work to me from week 1 for sure this week, and possibly week 2 as well, but at least week 1. If you haven't turned in week 1 at all, you should get going because you're falling a little behind.